All right, I just want to go over from chapter 6. One of the long questions that will be on the test. One of the graphs I'm going to have you do. So chapter 6, again, looking at pure competition. Here we're taking a look at the rules of what makes up a pure competition, right? Large number of sellers, right? They sell identical products. There's no substantial barriers to enter or leaving the market. Just some of the assumptions of pure competition. Because with pure competition, prices vary. And when prices vary, some companies do really well, and more firms then will enter the market to see the profits they can make too. Or if things go badly, firms will leave the market. Because again, number 3, right? No substantial barriers to entering or leaving the industry. So I just want to talk about, again, the graph, and you have to write about this question too on the test, because I'm going to give you a scenario, and basically you got to use some of this knowledge here to make your case. Because what's going to happen is, again, the world is not a static place. Things change all the time. And again, basically demand or supply will be changing on the test, right? I'm going to give you a scenario where in an industry, let's say for orange juices, so again, orange juice is a fairly competitive market, that supply and demand will shift at different times and changes the equilibrium price. And then what happens to the individual firm you should talk about. So again, if you want to look back, for the last test, page 70 talks about how demand shifts, and page 78 talks about how supply will shift, for different reasons. Because basically I'm going to pick out one of these for the scenario on the test, and then you have to draw the graph. So let me go through and draw a hypothetical example. There's going to be on one side, there is going to be the industry or the market. The book calls this the market. And again, we have our price here, quantity here. Make sure you label your graphs. Then we're also going to, right next to it, I'm going to give you basically these two graphs, right? I'm not going to put a P and a Q. It would behoove you to put a P and a Q in it. Price and quantity. I got my origin in both. But again, for the industry, again, in pure competition, the firm over here on the right side, this is the individual firm, the individual orange grower. They are a price taker, right? They take the price that the industry sets. So over here on the industry side, we have demand that's downward sloping. We have supply that's upward sloping. And again, just quickly, when you get this question on the test, it's going to be one on pure competition. This should be a no-brainer, demand and supply. And again, then we have again, here's my equilibrium price right here. This is my price, what I'm going to call it E1. That goes across and sets the price. Again, this is the price, which is really the demand, which is really the marginal revenue for the individual firm. Because in pure competition, demand is purely elastic, this horizontal line. So this should be easy, right? This is going to be the same no matter what the question asks you. But basically, I'm going to give you a scenario here where things change, right? Things change for the industry, and then it affects the individual firm. So, for example, if there is a frost in Florida where it's going to cut down the orange grows production, because most oranges come from Florida, that's going to affect, it's not going to affect the demand, what consumers run, right? It's going to, think about it, if it's going to affect the growers, they are the supplier of orange juices. So the S is going to move, right? So in this scenario, and again, I'm going to give you one of these scenarios, not this exact one, but some similar scenario where demand may shift also. Because again, if it came out tomorrow that orange juice will cure certain diseases like diabetes, everyone will be drinking more orange juice. And that would change demand, right? What people want. But here, if there's a frost, that's going to affect the grower, so it's going to affect supply. So basically, supply then is going to be cut, and supply is going to shift to the left. It goes this way, right? And again, never hurts to draw these arrows. So then, in this case scenario, we have a new equilibrium price, right? Right here, because demand really hasn't changed. It's again just the suppliers of orange juice, right? The growers are affected when there's a freeze. So don't be switching both at the same time, right? Just one. Don't be switching supply and demand. It's just here, just affecting supply. So again, here we got a new price, my equilibrium 2. And again, I'm going to go across and over to the right. And again, here is where basically the price goes up for oranges. So the individual firm is making more money. And again, this would be, if it's a pure competition, this would, if there was low barriers to entry, there more people would be shifting their crops over to orange juices to grow more oranges, and it would bring it, again, this could allow for, again, economic profit. Again, probably what I'm going to do on the test, I'll say the first equilibrium price, this one right here, this is normal profit. Right? Or again, basically total revenue, normal profit. For P for profit. Normal profit is where total revenue equals total cost, right? People are making a profit, they are making money, but they're not making an exorbitant amount of profit. So it's normal profit. So what happens to this normal profit for the firm if there's a freeze on orange juices? Basically, then this firm will be making economic profit, right? I can't spell economic. That was pretty bad. You get the idea. So something's going to happen over here on the left, right, with the industry for the test. Supply is going to change or demand's going to change, right? Either good or bad, depending on your outlook. That's going to affect the equilibrium price. Then that's going to affect the firm over here on the right, which will be making normal profit in the original equilibrium. So again, if they start making a loss, firms will leave the industry, right? Because again, there is not that much barriers to enter. So this is one of the questions for the test we'll have. It'll be after spring break, so we can always talk about this later.